Dave, how's it going?
It's going well. 2012 is almost on its way out.
It is. It's almost gone. This year has flown by.
We have successfully, with the help of our supporters, our studio audience, our sponsors, pulled off 14 episodes of going live with FCTV this year. This is episode number 14. Thank you all for making it happen.
And we have coming up in 2013 sponsorship commitment for 24.
What's that?
Is that what they ordered?
24 episodes, yes, I believe so.
Man.
Yeah.
I'm going to be spending a lot of time with you next year. So we mentioned we have a new sponsor coming on for 2013, and that's in just an hour away, a couple hours away.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. We're right there. The Buy Local Network, which is from our inception of what this show was, it was talking about local entertainment. Local
arts, culture, local talent
arts,
of all varieties.
And Buy Local has bought into that. Imagine that the Buy Local Network would buy into something. But they bought into our show, and we're very pleased to announce that they'll be sponsoring us throughout 2013. And for the first couple months, an interesting institution. They do a great job out of the Pennsylvania Institute of Health and Technology.
Right.
They've also sponsored us through the first couple quarters there.
Some very practical career training programs out there. I actually taught there for a while, and it's a quality institution with a lot of students now working in their fields that studied there.
And we've been on in 2012. We were on in Fayette County. That's where I'm born and raised, where I'm from. I know all about it. But
we're coming soon.
We're coming soon to other areas. I have an aunt in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, and pretty soon she'll be able to turn on her television set at some unknown time, and she'll be able to watch us. 50,000 homes we've added to going live through our partnership with Bethel Park. And we're looking that will continue throughout the year. We're doing it kind of on a test basis for a couple episodes, but we're also looking at some areas in West Virginia, in Maryland. Syndication could happen. I think
it's important because we're showing off, we're celebrating, some of the best of Fayette County, and we want to show other folks what we have to offer. So I think it's really exciting that the other stations in other areas outside of our county, outside of our state, are gracious enough to pick up our show and maybe find it relevant for their viewers. We appreciate that.
We have the best of Fayette County. That's what we say every time when we come into the show. Why don't we talk about tonight's show? Because we have some of the best of Fayette County for New Year's Eve. Who do we have?
Our musical guest tonight, Mr. Trombone himself. He's played with Louis Armstrong. He's played with Ray Charles. He is here in the studio with us tonight. One of my favorites. Timeless music, Mr. Harold Betters.
He's been on The Tonight Show. The Tonight Show, and he's here with us tonight. I'm curious, that's one of my questions tonight. Who was it, a Carson error, I would guess, maybe, possibly? Who knows?
Mr. Betters will have to tell us.
He'll have to tell us, but he's been around the block, has a national audience, but he's from Connellsville. And that's what we celebrate. That's what we're celebrating here this evening. Who else we have coming up?
Well, we have April Black, who has had all kind of crazy film roles. She's been a stunt double. She is a model. She is an actress. She is a Marcellus Shale administrator, a radiology technician, a juggler. She was in my wedding. She was in your wedding.
So she's been all over, but her film credits are really kind of large.
Yep.
The Hunger Games. She's going to tell us all about that stuff, but
Super 8, which was I thought was a really cool film, Paramount Pictures, I believe.
But has really gone big time again, right from here at home. Who else?
Yeah, we have Jordan Zigler on the show.
Jordy?
Jordan is a singer and very talented in her own right. She's played, as we'll learn a little bit later, she has played for John Lennon's 70th birthday tribute out on the West Coast. And she plays around. She just did a show recently at the Stonehouse, and she draws a nice crowd. She has some loyal followers. She's worked with some really big names in the recording industry, and I think something that's really special about Jordan is she's very humble. She has a good heart, and she really wants to make a difference. As her star continues to grow, I think she's going to continue to impact a lot of people in a positive way.
It's a full show. It is New Year's Eve, and I know some people before midnight want to learn how to make that perfect cocktail. You know, you're sitting around. Maybe you had a couple Miller Lights, but it's time for that perfect cocktail. And who's going to teach us about that?
Well, none other than Mr. and Mrs. Dan and Barb Clockerty of Winesteins and Cocktails. You might not know that name offhand, but you might have seen them in the area. They've been here at the Uniontown Holiday Inn offering some practical and hands-on, really fun and educational classes in bartending and mixology. And Dan will tell us why bartending is one of the, I think it's the number one. It's been consistently ranked as number one of the best part-time careers. And he'll talk a little bit about the programs that he has to offer. Maybe someone's looking for a career change, looking for part-time or full-time work. Some great opportunities there.
You looking for a career change? You never know. Never know. I think you're with us through 2013 at least. But okay, so bartending going to be great. Our buddy is back. Chef
is going to be hosting that segment.
Absolutely.
And he'll put some of his own expertise to work in talking to Dan and Barb.
So we have a great show lineup. We have a lot to come. After midnight, we'll be back with musical guests.
That's right.
We'll have Abacus Jones.
I believe so, and we have another special
another surprise coming for you.
Yeah.
But Abacus Jones will be playing for you. They've really in 2012 been one of our house bands, and we have to send them out a special thank you for.
They were on our very first
being
show.
around. You know, they were first show, fifth show, eighth show. I don't know. They come back every once in a while, but they're a great new group up and coming.
Joe and Tony Materkowski and Jason Kersey, all very talented musicians in their own right, and when they come together, it is magic.
Now, they're just getting their foot on the pedal, but we already talked about a man who knows how to pedal his tricycle. Mr. Harold Betters, he's here this evening in the studio, and we're going to toss it over to him and let him play some of his musical stylings for us.
Mr. Trombone.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I watch them bloom for just me and you. Then I say to myself, yeah, what a wonderful world. Oh, I see skies of blue and clouds of white, bright blessed day and the dark sacred night. Then I say to myself, what a wonderful world. Now the colors in the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They are really saying, I love you. Now I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. Then I think and I say to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh yeah, I says to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, fine.
Thank you for being on the show tonight. So you're a Connellsville native, correct?
That's correct.
You're born and raised? That's where you're
Born
from?
and raised in Connellsville, but not all my life. I
Not
still
a-
live there.
Yeah, did you still live there? You've been around, though. You've been around the block before.
I was very fortunate, yeah. I played with Ray Charles for a month, and then I met the great one, Louis Armstrong himself. We were on the Mike Douglas show together, and he gave me some tips about, you got to sing a little bit if you don't want to. And then I met the chairman of the board, Frank Sinatra, and I recorded before him, and they asked me what I'd like to see him record. So it was a very good experience I had.
So you've been around the block. You've played with some of the greats.
Yes.
Is it true? Were you on the Tonight Show at one point in time?
Yes, I was.
You
Yes,
were?
I was. Merv
Was that-
Griffin and Mike Douglas.
Okay, the
Yeah,
Mike Douglas
yeah,
period.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're from Connellsville,
Uh-huh.
but you're playing locally still.
That's correct.
Christian Clay Winery every
That's
once in a
one
while.
of my favorite places. By the way, we're going to be there the last Sunday of every September.
Okay.
So tell everybody to come out with the
Last
ball.
Sunday of the month. What
Yeah.
time do you start?
We start at 1 in the afternoon to 4
Okay, so you play from 1 till 4, last Sunday of every month.
at Christian Clay Winery.
Sure. So you credit your success to your parents.
That's correct.
They operated a hot spot for jazz.
Right. They had a beer garden hotel.
Okay.
Right. And we started off playing there, me and my brother Jerry.
How old were you?
I was about, when I got out of high school, I
Okay.
was playing my mother's place. And then we went from there down at Pittsburgh, the Midway Lounge, and all over the country.
Okay, so you've been around town. What's your favorite gig? Where's the place that you played, and that was kind of the ultimate, other than here tonight?
I got to be honest for you, not to plug the Christian Clay Winery, but I have so much fun there, and the people dance, and I have people come up and sing with me, and it's enjoyable. The rapport you get from the audience. But I play a lot of weddings, and I play a lot of different things like that.
I know we have some NFL fans out here in the crowd tonight.
Yes.
You play Steeler games.
For the theater game.
Yeah,
right,
not
right.
Steeler fans out here, anyone?
Yeah.
Woo! There you go. There you go.
Charge, right.
So you also conduct some workshops and clinics?
Yeah, in Morgantown, West Virginia, and
Okay.
Penn State. Jazz
Okay.
workshops.
So you're hitting WVU? Is that where you are down in Morgantown?
Right.
Great. So
Great.
people want to hear your music. Where can they? You have a CD out?
Yes, I do. I have about 7 albums, CDs
Okay.
out.
Okay. You got the albums out. You got the CDs out.
Right.
And they can buy them pretty much any place.
Yes, right.
Okay. Do you have a personal website or any way to
Yes, I
find
do.
out information
My
about you?
agent's here. Her name is Helen Arndt.
Okay.
And she has our showpiece up there.
Sure. Well, you're going to be playing us out a little bit later tonight. I thank you for being with us.
Okay.
You're one of the greats. I have to tell you, I told one of our production staff earlier today, I said, when the young guys are in here, when they're just getting started, I'm cocky, I'm confident, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when I have people like you here, I get a little nervous.
Oh.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but hey, you've been around the block. We thank
Right.
you for being with us. Man from Connellsville. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the one, the only Mr. Harold Betters.
Thank you.
Thank you.
everybody.
We'll be back after these
Okay.
messages.
Wonderful.
A few years ago, I was at a dead end, underemployed, with no idea of where my life was headed. Then I enrolled at the Pennsylvania Institute of Health and Technology's School of Healthcare Careers and discovered a great career and great life was only months away. Now, I've started the career of my dreams, and the future couldn't be brighter.
The School of Healthcare Careers at the Pennsylvania Institute of Health and Technology offers career-focused, hands-on training for these in-demand fields. Call 724-437-4600 or visit piht.edu for information.
Promotional consideration by Judy's Do Re Mi.
This is the season for giving. Support your neighbors, friends, and family. Buy local. Boomer and Miss B went holiday shopping. Miss B shopped at locally owned businesses. Boomer did not. Who helped the local economy more? Boomer's impact on the local economy was small. Miss B bought local, and 80% of the money she spent stayed here in Fayette County. Join Boomer and Miss B this holiday season and look for the logo of the Fayette County Buy Local Network when you shop.
Hey, thanks for staying with us, Dave, the great Harold
Mr.
Betters.
Trombone.
How can you believe that?
It's hard to follow that up, but I know someone that's gonna blow your socks off too. Knock your socks off, I think is the expression.
You know what's great about this show, in as we talk over right here, you know, we have the last generation, the previous generation, if I will, and who's up and coming. And tonight is all about up and coming. It's all about looking forward. You know, heck, it's New Year's Eve.
That's right.
We're looking to the next year, and we got Miss Jordy Zigler with us. Jordan, is that what you go by?
Either one works.
Either one works. So she's a singer, she's a songwriter. Tell us a little about your career. What are you doing currently?
Sure. Well, I started out singing when I was really young, 7 or 8 years old. And a couple of years ago, I went out to Los Angeles in front of Capitol Records and sang for the John Lennon tribute 70th birthday event. And that was an amazing experience. I got cast in an Australian film called Trouble Down Under. It's getting shot in Australia probably in the next 2 years. They're still working on funding and things. I write my own music. I play the guitar, I play the piano, and I've recorded a few CDs, mostly demos right now, and I worked with some pretty cool people. I've been very blessed to have met some nice people along the way, and things have kind of started to fall together a little bit, which is exciting.
You deserve the success.
Thank you, Dave.
So you've worked with songwriter or vocal coach Paul Zello.
I have.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
I have.
How's your experience been?
He's amazing, and he's a Los Angeles-based songwriter. He's worked with Bob Dylan.
One of my faves.
Me too. Yeah. Christina Aguilera, Maroon 5, Adam Levine, singer, and I went out and I did a lot of songwriting lessons with him. And he helped me to bring the lyrics together a lot, because a lot of times in songwriting you kind of have an idea of what you want it to sound like, but it helps to have someone have an outside perspective who knows what they're doing, who can look at what you're doing and kind of see the direction that you want it to go. And he helped me a lot with that. He's an amazing person.
And it's good to be able to accept constructive criticism and use that to kind of hone your craft, which I know.
So important.
Yeah.
For sure. So important.
So some people that listen on the radio, maybe they don't think about how the show was put together or how a song was put together. But you have the lyrics and then you have the medley that's going together. What comes first for you?
The medley.
The medley.
The medley.
So you hear it and then you think, hey, what's the topic of what's on my mind? Is that what you do?
You know what's funny, Matt? Sometimes they both come together.
Okay.
In the best circumstance, they both come together at once. And I've literally sat down and had a whole song come out. And there have been other times where I've had a piece here, a piece there. 2 months later, I've had a piece come together. So sometimes it's really, really fast, and other times it takes months.
Aren't those bursts of inspiration great though? Like I'm nowhere, I can't touch you as a songwriter, but I've dabbled in a little bit. But just sometimes when you have that idea, it comes to you, it's just like, wow, where does it come from?
Well, and honestly, Dave, I think those are sometimes the best songs that you ever write, and the best is when it just is spur of the moment and just happens naturally like that. I think it's wonderful. Mm-hmm.
So you're talking a little bit about medley, a little bit about lyrics. Your mood, does that determine what you're writing, what you're doing? I call Dave every morning. We're not in the same office building most times. And I say, what is the mood of the day?
And we're in the office. The other day I said somber, and he got real scared. He didn't come in.
What happened? But does that determine what you're writing, what you're doing?
Sometimes, I think. It's really funny. Sometimes when I go into my songwriting mode, sometimes I'll deliberately try to put myself in a certain mode. So if I want to write something that's a little more sad, I'll kind of try to watch movies that are a little more dark toned and listen to music that's a little more dark toned. But if I want to write something really happy, then I'll start listening to a little bit more happy music, and it kind of influences the songs that come out from it. For sure, that's a good question. That's
dark
true.
tone like Pantera, or not quite that hard?
Not quite that hard.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not that hardcore yet.
Maybe later on in your career, you never know.
You never know. We're going to see how dark it goes.
So you alluded to the fact that you played for John Lennon's 70th birthday tribute.
I did.
It wasn't a birthday party. He was not there, unfortunately. What was that like? That had to be like an awe-inspiring kind of experience.
You know what? It was so unreal. Even on the way to the airport, on the way to Los Angeles, I thought, I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe this is actually happening. And when I stood there, and it was in front of Capitol Records, which was unbelievable. They took me in a back entrance, and when I got out in front, there was all these people. I was on LA Today News, and it was amazing. Not even just for the fact that I got to play for such an amazing man, for his tribute, for his life, but also at the same time, it was amazing that I got to be part of something that was more than just about the music. It was about John Lennon and what an impact he's had on the world today. And it was a great experience for me and an honor to be a part of something like that.
You played Beautiful Boy, if I remember correctly.
I did.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
I learned it just
Good
for
choice.
that, actually, just for that. It was also, the funny thing, a lot of people don't know this, is John Lennon and his son were both born on the same day. So I kind of combined them both, and I sang the song that he wrote for his son, Beautiful Boy.
Sean, right? For Sean, yep.
Yep, that's right.
So, you sang for that. Are you a big Lennon fan, or are you a big Beatles fan?
Huge.
I would take, and how's that inspired your work or your writing, or do you think that any of what you do is influenced by what they did?
For sure. I think that, there's nothing better to listen to than a Beatles song when you're having a bad day. And I feel like the kind of music that I aspire to write is something that will lift someone's spirits. And more than anything, I feel like this is a gift I've been given, and that it needs to be used for good. And so I'd like to write music that will do that for someone's life, that will lift them up in a dark place, or that will help them in some way in their life. And that's the ultimate goal from everything I do with music. It's not for my own recognition, but to help other people, because I feel like it's a gift that I need to continue in some way that's beyond myself.
So we talked a little bit about Beatles, a little bit about John Lennon. I have to ask, Dave, your favorite Beatles song?
My favorite. I like While My Guitar Gently Weeps. A little bit of George Harrison playing some guitar. And I don't know. That's really tough. That's just the one that comes to mind, but I've got quite a few. The whole White Album's pretty darn good.
Yeah, that's some good music. If I really need pick-me-up, and Dave maybe will attest to this, my iTunes plays Yellow Submarine.
Oh yeah, you can't beat that one.
You gotta. I don't know where that came from, but it's. How about you?
Let It Be.
Let It Be.
Love it.
Another good one.
It really, that's an introspective song.
It is. That's one of the things I liked about it. I think it's just it's a good message. There's a lot in life you can't change, and you just have to let it be and accept it, and that's it. For sure.
So Colby Calais,
Yes.
another influence.
For sure.
Have you met her?
Okay.
I actually have not, but a lot of people, it's funny you guys brought that up. I've worked with her dad, Ken Calais.
Wow.
He's of Fleetwood Mac fame.
Right.
And he and I are planning on getting together, actually, to go over some of my music. He's interested in some of my lyrics to possibly pass on to Colby to use on some of her future records.
Wow.
So that would be really cool.
Now, what's your, maybe this isn't kosher to ask, but what's your opinion of writing for other people? You're a vocalist, you do darn well on your own, but what do you think about your lyrics being taken and someone like Colby performing them?
I'd be honored by it.
Okay.
Because for me, I feel like sometimes you write a song and that song's not meant for you. It's meant to be shared with someone else. Someone else could possibly put more inflection of tone into the song than you could, or they've been through similar experience and could. Sometimes you write songs and they're not necessarily about you. They just come out, but maybe another vocalist would hear that song and it would perfectly describe what they could best relate to. And I think that in music you have to be genuine, and part of that is being selfless. Like, you have to be able to give other people your music and hope that they'll do something right with it, like their tones in their voice and the way that they, that gets put out is the best choice. And so if that were to happen and someone had the music, I'd be honored.
It's magic sometimes. Sometimes another artist can make your words come alive. And I think back to Bob Dylan did All Along the Watchtower, and then Jimi Hendrix covered it. And then after Bob Dylan heard Hendrix's version, he said he never played that song the same way again.
Exactly. So exactly. It's so true.
So are you still seeking a recording contract?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I haven't publicly announced this a lot, but I've been offered one.
Sure.
I was talking about a developmental deal with DreamWorks Studios for a while, and it wasn't the right path for me. I think that you have to be true to who you are, no matter what field you're in. You have to always be true to who you are and follow what you feel is the right. And I feel that they were looking to push me in more of a pop-centered genre. And who I am is I'm not someone who's ever going to be comfortable dancing on stage and not a lot of clothes. It's just not me. And so I went a different direction. But if the right opportunity would come up with a record contract, I would definitely think about pursuing it. But the internet and promotional opportunities and everyone you meet in the music industry today, you have so many opportunities that you can almost go independently and do as well as with a major record. So it's almost a choice that you have to kind of go back and forth between when you consider it.
Absolutely, but I think it's awe-inspiring that you have decided to go with the right record label. This is kind of a tongue twister, rather than just jump into something and say, you know, this is who's going to make the deal, because you feel that your music has to go a certain way, and that's fantastic.
Can't compromise who you are. That's really
Never.
respectable, I think.
Thank you so much. Never.
You know,
Censor yourself.
you've done some big things, and people look at you. You have a little bit of a public status, you know, and I think that's only going to continue to grow. You've said that you want your public status to help people as your career continues. But, you know, what causes are you passionate about? What do you want to push out there in the forefront?
I have a lot of causes that I'm passionate about, to be honest with you. My ultimate goal would be to create I've thought about this a lot. My ultimate goal is to create safe houses for abused kids, and I would want to call it the Greener Grass Foundation. And it would be a lot of times after kids age out of foster care, they are just, they're on their own. And when they're 18, they have nowhere to go. And my idea is to create a global network of safe houses that after kids age out of foster care, they could go into these safe houses and live for a few years until they get on their feet, make some connections, find their footing, and continue on with their lives in a positive way. I went to school for counseling, actually, and I had so many unbelievable experiences with people, and to see what other people go through really makes you appreciate that this life you live is really not about you. It's about other people, and how you impact other people and how you live your life has a direct impact on how the rest of the world functions. And I saw that firsthand with counseling, and so out of my music, I'd really like to, in some way, have that be a positive attribute towards something greater than myself in that way.
So I have to get in here the family film that you were part of. You alluded to it earlier. You voiced a character in an Australian film called Trouble Down Under.
Yes.
Is that correct? And tell us a little bit about the character that you played.
Sure.
Who'd you play?
I played Scamp,
Okay.
and it was a happy-go-lucky bunny.
Okay.
And
Is this animated?
Yes, it was produced by the same producer who did The Lion King too,
Okay. And Jungle Book 2,
and
right?
The Jungle Book too.
I'm a huge
Yep.
Disney fan, so this is like my territory right here. You know, but you've played those parts.
I have not played them yet.
Okay.
They're actually still in funding. The whole movie process was a totally new realm for me. But it takes a few years to get funding done for animated films in particular. And since it's Australia, they're working on all the contracts and all the obligations they have to fulfill before getting the ball rolling. But
That's exciting.
it's super exciting. I'm really excited about it. And it's going to be a cool movie. I've never done an animated movie before. I've been in the studio a lot. I've been in the studio a whole lot for music, but never before for a movie. So it'll be different, but
So
I'm excited.
The director of your film, Steve Trenberth,
Yes.
is that correct?
That's right.
Have you met him yet and gotten to talk with him?
I have not. I've talked to him on the phone a lot. He's in Australia most of the time. But the other producer I have been in contact with, Frank Miniacci, and he's the CEO of Fastlane Entertainment, and and Mad Cow Pictures, and they're working with Paramount to get all the contracts together. But the funny thing is, whether you live in Chalk Hill or Los Angeles, you learn from these things that people are just people. And that's more than anything. I was so nervous going out to Los Angeles and like doing all these things. And I was like, I'm just like this small town. I've never been to Los Angeles before that. And more than anything, I think that you learn, regardless of where your walk in life is or what career you end up taking, you just encounter people.
Yep.
Which is really comforting. It was comforting and surprising to me, but nice.
Once you find your baggage at LAX, it's like home, right?
Yeah. I was standing in the airport. I had my mom. I remember I was standing in the airport. I was like, Mom, you have to capture this moment. I said, I'm at LAX right now.
I've been there a couple times before, and it's a little bit overwhelming. But Jordan, we want to thank you for being on with us.
We got to get her back on as a musical guest sometime.
I
Dave
love
promises
that.
me
Anytime.
you're going to sing sometime.
Sure, I'd be happy to.
So
Thank you for having
we'd be
me very
happy to
much.
have you back and happy to be with our audience. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jordan Zigler.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We'll be back after these brief messages. Promotional consideration by Judy's Do Re Mi.
This is the season for giving. Support your neighbors, friends, and family. Buy local. Boomer and Miss B went holiday shopping. Miss B shopped at locally owned businesses. Boomer did not. Who helped the local economy more? Boomer's impact on the local economy was small. Miss B bought local, and 80% of the money she spent stayed here in Fayette County. Join Boomer and Miss B this holiday season and look for the logo of the Fayette County Buy Local Network when you shop.
Joining us tonight, April Black on the Going Live couch. You know, we're talking about local talent. It's New Year's, festive time of the year. Are you excited about 2013, April?
I am. I'm not really one to make resolutions, but things have been.
But you're going to
really
do it on
well.
air?
No.
Okay.
I don't have any big
Because
announcements.
we'll hold it to you.
Yeah, if it's on tape, then you have to go through with it. But no, I don't really have any resolutions, but things have been going really well, and I'm very excited to start the year.
So you're an actress, you're a model, you're from Smithfield,
Yes.
correct?
I am.
Okay.
Just the small town of Smithfield, and back in the woods, we have a big farm, and that's what I grew up on, and it's all I've known until I started getting more into the modeling and acting career. And I started venturing out into big cities and sort of took it from there.
So Super 8, one of Dave's favorite films.
Is it really?
I liked it. I liked your role in it. That was cool.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, that's probably, besides doing some stunt work, that is probably the most memorable experience that I've been a part of. I started out just going to, it was in Weirton, West Virginia, and I went down to audition, and they asked me to be just a background actress in the film, and then they had some featured parts for me after a couple of days of just being on set and hanging out, and then once they started doing some more of the featured roles, they had asked me to do a live audition, and J.J. Abrams, who's the director of that film, him and his assistant, they just walked up to me and they said, "We would like you to audition for a speaking role." And I didn't even know that was possible. I've heard that some background performers can get SAG, be bumped up to Screen Actors Guild for a day or two, but they usually go with, whenever something is that big of a production, they usually go with seasoned actors because the parts are so important that they have to film, and they usually don't throw you into a room with famous people and because they don't know how you're going to act. Because a lot of the times when people are new to the industry and they're in the background, they'll just run up and they'll ask for autographs or they'll ask for pictures and end up getting thrown off set, and it's this big ordeal. But so I auditioned on that sidewalk in the middle of the street, and we were in with.
How about that? Wow.
There was a whole bunch of people that auditioned, and then I ended up getting the speaking part.
So you talked about being around famous people. Who were you on set with that most enthralled you, that you were like, whoa, I'm on set with this person?
For that film, Dakota Fanning's little sister, Elle Fanning, she's sort of an up-and-comer, but she's amazing. Dakota and her they're both amazing actresses. But probably ever that people were sort of awestruck by was probably Lenny Kravitz.
Sure.
Lenny.
Yeah.
So did you have to restrain yourself?
That's-
Is that something
everybody
you had to
asks
teach
me.
yourself to like kind of? Because I noticed tonight when you came in here tonight, you were like, "Hey Matt, how are you?" You weren't all over me like most people are. You know what I mean? You know. So is that something you learned through the film industry?
Yeah, I kind of I like to keep it
you
cool.
keep it
whenever
cool?
I see big time people. Yeah.
Harold Betters did that tonight too. He was just like, "Hey, I'm here. I'm gonna play trombone. I'm not gonna be all over you. You're gonna be all over." You know.
That's right. Keep our distance.
There you go. There you go. So what can you share about some of the most recent projects you've done? You did Hunger Games, right?
Yes, I did the Hunger Games and the Avengers.
Wow.
And the Hunger Games was actually filmed in Charlotte, North Carolina. And the Avengers is sort of similar feel with all the action, but my parts were with Chris Evans, who played Captain America, and also Loki, who was the new bad guy in the new films that are coming up, and he's actually Thor's brother for all of that chain of films. But it was really cool. They turned the whole city of Cleveland into Germany, and
that's how Pittsburghers think it is every day. Yeah, like a foreign country, like completely.
They do have a different language that Pittsburgh
They do.
use.
They do. It's very different. They're from Ohio. It starts with an A. It throws me off every time. I'm sorry.
It's okay. But it was really neat. It was another big budget film. But you can sort of tell the films that are going to be really big when they come up. And they were probably some of the funnest films that I've been a part of.
How about Free Runner?
Free Runner is the film that I got to do some stunt work on.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Were you into the stunt work? I'm sorry, Dave.
I was going to say you were a double or you filled in for a Brazilian supermodel. Is that correct?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
she was a supermodel, and she did some work for Victoria's Secret, and it was her first film in America. And she was about 6'2", and they couldn't find anyone to do her stunts that could actually pull off looking like her. Mm-hmm. And I was hired to do her stand-in work, which is just the person that sort of fills in whenever she's not there, and she comes in to do just the speaking parts. And then she just runs back to her trailer, and they test the lighting on the stand-in and things like that. So I was hired as a stand-in for the length of the film, and then while I was there, they approached me with the idea of doing some stunt work. And somebody actually took a picture of the stunt coordinator talking to me about this whole idea of the parts that I'd be doing and the different stunts that I'd have to learn to do. And it's funny because we're sitting together like this, and he's telling me, and my face is just like looks scared to death. Because I'm
you
like,
weren't expecting to be asked that, huh?
No, and the stuff he's telling me to do, I have to jump off of this exploding yacht. I have to zip line off of this 14-story building in Cleveland while they shut down the traffic with no safety net underneath. Like, just the craziest stuff like that. But
and those are things you did in Smithfield, like on the weekends.
they don't have zip lines at the farm. They don't have...
No, not at the farm?
No.
Riches hasn't installed that yet?
I've heard the thinking of it, but no.
Yeah, next season. So America's Next Top Model. I got that right. Tyra.
Yes.
Okay, you were a finalist.
Yeah, I actually auditioned at a little mall in West Virginia a couple years ago. And that's what sort of started this whole traveling thing for me. And her assistant called me probably 3 months after I auditioned, and I was down, I was bummed out. I was like, I didn't make it, and I got this call, and someone said, "Is this April Black?" And she said, "I'm Tyra Banks' assistant. When can you come to New York City?"
How about that?
And I was just,
Jeez.
I thought it was someone prank calling me, because like all my friends knew
this
that.
guy
that
who prank calls a good bit.
All the time, actually.
But so I went up there, and it was the final auditions. There was 5,000 girls from all over America, and they were the tallest, thinnest, most beautiful women like you could ever imagine, and it was some stiff competition. But they picked at the end of the day, after all of the photo shoots and runway work and all that sort of stuff, they picked, I think it was 12 to go into the house to be on the show. But I made it down to the top 24, and then they picked 12 out of us to go into the show. But I didn't get to go to LA to be on the show, but I got to go that far, so it was cool.
I have to ask, were you let down by not going on the show? Let's be honest, those people are weird. I mean, like, they're over the top. I could not picture you shaving your head.
If somebody would have cut my hair, I probably would have just went home. I don't think I could have.
I couldn't see you in the Shanae do. You know? But
No,
I've watched the show.
off.
That's what they do.
They
That's
do.
what they do.
And it's with the girl with the longest hair, she gets the buzz
Every
cut
time.
every time. But yeah, during the auditions, they asked some crazy questions, and they asked like, why are you going to be on the show? What kind of drama will you bring and all that? And I'm thinking, I'm not full of drama. There's no way that my life is that interesting that I'm going to make people watch this show. But there were some girls, and they're saying, I'm going to beat somebody up if they turn my alarm clock off and all this. And those are the girls that ended up on the show. So, but it was cool to be in New York and to be part of that.
So America's Next Top Model wasn't for you, but Fashion Week was.
Yeah.
You've done New York.
That was my next experience in New York City. Was I submitted some things for some designers that were from all over the world, and I got chosen to be in some of the collections, and I actually got to open a show for a Project Runway designer, and her name's Jordana, and she was on the Project Runway All-Stars, and she asked me to open her show and her collections, where it's really cool to be a part of something like that, because the inspirations that they talk about whenever they're talking about like how they put their outfits together, and she was talking about like going outside and looking out the dew on the grass, and that's where she got the idea for my outfit, and it's really cool, like the people's thought processes when they're coming up with that stuff. But
it's really an art to that, huh?
yeah, it really is.
Yeah, drugs do crazy things. So do you ever get nervous? Like when you were in New York, did you get nervous?
I didn't get nervous whenever I was on stage, because I grew up on stage. I mean, I started
Aside
singing.
from tonight.
Yeah, tonight I'm singing.
I know. Your stomach was turning. It was.
But no, whenever I'm on stage, it's kind of like I kind of get calm, and it's kind of home. But whenever I drove to New York, I was by myself, and I lived there for a couple of weeks by myself. Had to figure out the subway systems, had to figure out what time to stay off the streets at night.
Did you figure out how the city was numbered, like the street?
Yeah, there is a pattern.
I always go the opposite direction. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I go south instead of north every time. So you know, to model, you have to be a certain size, a certain weight. You know, they're pushing all these things. Is that something you work at?
Whenever I know there's a project coming up, I do have certain workout routines and certain foods I stay away from. But I'd say growing up on the farm, farmers like to eat, and I've never been one to sort of say, okay, I'm just not going to eat for something. Because I think if someone wants you to be a part of their shoot, then they want you to be a part of their shoot, whether you're a size 0 or a size 8 or 10 or something like that. So, and Photoshop does wonders. So, I think that's really ridiculous that they sort of project that image, and especially for young girls too, because it's really impossible to live up to all that. So,
you know, even here at Channel 77, we use Photoshop. If you've ever seen the Friday E update, it's like a 10-pound slimmer version of me every single week. But so you have some real world skills, and I'm told they include archery, weightlifting, shooting shotguns and rifles, and of all things, juggling.
Yes.
So where did you learn juggling? I have to, you know, that's something I gotta ask. Were you just in the kitchen one day with the apples and let loose?
I was actually at one of my friends' houses, and we were playing pool, and I just had the idea of learning how to juggle.
So you're a self-taught juggler?
Yes. And it takes a really long time to learn, like days.
So last question, because we got to go to break. Tomboy or girly girl?
Definitely tomboy that likes to strap on a pair of heels every once in a while.
Every once in a while?
Every once in a while.
Like during Fashion Week in New York?
Yes.
Well, April Black, thank you for being with us.
Thanks.
It's been a lovely visit. We hope you'll come back with us sometime.
Sure, I'd love to.
Stay with us. We'll be back after these messages, going live with FCTV.
A few years ago, I was at a dead end, underemployed, with no idea of where my life was headed. Then I enrolled at the Pennsylvania Institute of Health and Technology's School of Healthcare Careers and discovered a great career and great life was only months away. Now, I've started the career of my dreams, and the future couldn't be brighter.
The School of Healthcare Careers at the Pennsylvania Institute of Health and Technology offers career-focused, hands-on training for these in-demand fields. Call 724-437-4600 or visit piht.edu for information.
Promotional consideration by Judy's Do Re Mi.
Welcome back to Going Live with on FCTV, I should say. I'm Chef Mario Pareca. I'm sure you know me. I'm here in the kitchen from time to time. Although it's not much of a kitchen today, it's more of my favorite place, the bar where you like to come and have a few cocktails. And it is New Year's Eve, soon to be New Year's Day. So this is a place where a lot of people feel very comfortable. I'm here with Dan and Barb Clockerty, and you are the owners of Winesteins and Cocktails. Correct. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your business, about what it is, what it actually is, and what you guys do there?
Well, what we do is we train professional bartenders and wine stewards. We mix a variety of drinks on special occasions, people's homes, corporate campuses. And we have a special section that we train people who want to buy establishments. Pretty much A to Z, how to set it up, purchase it, and market it. Get the good people down there to mix the drinks so that they can be creative and generate some income.
So you train mixologists?
Oh,
is that
we
the
do.
technical name?
Quite a few of them. We do. Huh?
Okay, so you're like the professor mixologist, right?
Yes.
So basically, a lot of different places where I would go, or anyone here would go and have a cocktail, they're really drinking something that you taught someone how to make.
Hopefully.
Okay, but there's a number. You have a number of locations.
We do.
So where are you located?
Well, the closest, we'll say, in Westmoreland and Fayette counties would be in Youngwood.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a satellite office there, but we have schools in different states as well, and we do a lot of traveling. So it's not uncommon to be on the road maybe half the year.
Okay, wow. Mm-hmm. So you travel around to all these different campuses and train all these different people. We were talking before the segment. You bartending is a great gig to get into, especially now with the economy the way it is. Why don't you explain how bartending could really benefit a lot of the people out there that are looking for supplemental income or looking for jobs in any form?
Well, I would say probably one of the best things that the job, as far as a mixologist, it lends itself to working in very nice places, and as a result, you get paid good by it for your time. You can work day or evening, part or full time. A lot of times people, just for a shift or two of work, make as much money as people who work a regular job from perhaps a whole week. And of course, if you'd like, you have the opportunity to, we'll say, work in the wintertime, go south. And if you like to ski, you go to Colorado or whatever. But it's recession proof, and quite honestly, my whole life, I've been a bartender now for 41 years, I've never been unemployed. Okay, people seem to eat and they drink, they entertain virtually anywhere. We pretty much follow the Hallmark calendar, and there's a reason, to have a party per se, and that's what we do. So
you guys make the party, huh?
Yeah, I'll tell you, we work with people like yourself, chefs. Yeah. We mix the kitchen.
Absolutely.
You know that, right? We mix the kitchen with the bar.
We get along quite well.
Yes.
We feed you, and you keep us.
Amen.
Keep us having fun. So, tell us if someone wants to come to one of your schools.
Right.
What's the process? How does it work? What does that all entail?
Well, we have an 800 number, obviously, and a good website also. A couple websites. But you can go to Winesteins and Cocktails, or to, in this case, bartenderexpress.info. And there's a lot of good information there. Good information about graduates as well, and where they're working. We've had, like I say, the pleasure to do a lot of training for people that work on the cruise lines. Okay. And in fact, I spent half this summer working at the casinos up in New York and out in New Jersey. So for people that have an interest in that, to get started, like I say, you go to the website, or you can call the 800 number. We're in the books, and we can hook you up.
Sounds good. Mm-hmm. I'm excited. We're going to make some drinks now.
Yeah, we're
going to do that. I'm thirsty. I'll tell you what. Do you want to guess? What are we going to make today? Let's talk about that first. Let's talk about the first cocktail you want to show us how to do.
Okay, we're just going to do a few for you here today. One is called a Chambertini. Okay,
Chambertini.
It's a French
Sounds like
martini.
Chambord and a martini had a baby.
You got it, right.
But it's not going to be baby size, right?
No.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we'll make this nice and big for you.
All right. So the Chambord, which I guess you're very familiar with,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, it's one of the finest raspberry liqueurs in the world, right? From
yes,
France.
It is.
And you probably do some pastry or cooking with it.
Yep,
okay,
you can cook with Chambord. Great. You can make some great like jams, jellies using Chambord, chutneys. Very good with Chambord.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it goes great with a lot of different things food-wise, but we're going to use it and make it kind of a martini with it now?
That's true. The martini, which you may be familiar, has always been with vermouth and gin or vodka, respectively. Today, we have a situation where people, they want to sample, just like, well, in this case, we're cooking with booze, if you will. So we're going to mix the Chambord, and we've got some good French vodka here. In other words, they may have bad stuff in France, but they sure as heck don't export it, right? So we're going to lay in there typically 1.5 ounces jigger, or a double, 2 ounces of, in this case, the Grey Goose, along with the Chambord.
Sounds like a winner to me so far.
It smells good from here.
It does.
All right.
I'll tell you what, I always get the best segments because I'm either eating, we're drinking, and it's New Year's.
Right.
I mean,
we're going to stop at your shop after here and have
that's
some food, right?
Yeah. Why would I stay home when I can be here doing this? It's
Absolutely.
It's a dirty job.
Yes. Someone has to do
That's
it, right?
right.
So she's going to have a mixture here of the good Grey Goose. That's a premium brand.
And that's
obviously.
pineapple juice?
And this is
Okay,
pineapple
so we got
juice.
Chambord, we got Grey Goose, we got pineapple juice.
That's correct.
And now you're going to shake it. Now, what's the technique to shaking it without getting ice and liquid all over yourself?
Now, why don't you go ahead and...
Well, the technique is that you're going to build in your glass.
Do we have a stick mic that I can use
What?
with her so that we can hear her? Because you don't have a mic on, we can't hear you when you're talking.
Okay.
No? Okay. Well, why don't you explain
So
why
you'll
she
Okay,
does it?
we'll
the
do
good
that.
ingredients.
Sure.
We're going to put the tin on top. You go ahead and walk through.
We always, when we work with these instruments, to cut down just very carefully, we take the larger instrument here, the canister. This is a Boston shaker.
Okay.
And then we're going to position that on top of the smaller glass. So we're looking at
Okay.
28 ounces and 16 right here.
Okay.
So once that's on there, she secures it. Now, there's a lot of different ways that we can flare up and shake it, but for standard and safe situations, just simply turn it upside down there
Okay.
and shake that very good because of all the sugar and the materials that's in there.
Okay. Shake and not stir.
Yes. And you really want to shake it.
Okay.
2 or 3 shakes is not enough. You should shake a dozen, maybe times,
Okay.
maybe 2 dozen times. Now, what she's done here for us
That's the
is
glass already prepared.
she's prepared a glass here for us, and just like food, we can enhance things, right?
Right.
So depending on the establishment you work, or of course if we would train you, or you would train me per se, we can be more creative and of course better presentation, generate more income, of course, right?
Absolutely. It's the name of the game. And that's just turbinado sugar?
Yeah, just turbinado sugar.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll enhance that.
And what do you dip the rim in before you dip it in the sugar to get it to stick?
Well, she has options actually, but
that
ideally with this,
orange?
because of sweetness, we want to get that glaze on
Okay.
there, if you will. So we have the orange
Okay.
there that we would use, and then that'll lay on there very nicely. And then when everybody
Gotcha.
drinks, they would taste that.
And was this one of your favorite drinks? What's your favorite drink?
My favorite drink, I don't drink a lot, ironically. Okay, I like to eat, okay, but I don't drink a lot. I like champagne.
Champagne. What's
Different
your favorite
types of
brand? What's your favorite
cocktails.
kind?
I like good French champagne. I do. Moet et Chandon is
Okay.
a nice one. Although here in California, and certainly more recently in Washington, I bought a bottle on sale for $5 and a fraction of a Pacific Rim Riesling.
Oh, wow.
Champagne. I tell you, it's the best thing I bought out of liquor stores in Pennsylvania in a long time,
Yeah.
right? But this is, as you see, it's called
a shot of that?
a Chambertini or a French Martini.
You got the nice little orange twist on top.
Got a
Spiral.
So that's a big part of it too. People don't understand when you're in the bar business or even in the food business, garnishing, because you have to have a nice presentation. It has to look nice. What are some different garnishes that you like to play with, or that you like to teach your students to use with different drinks? They're fun.
They are fun, and I guess from your culinary background, you do a lot of garnishing.
Oh yeah.
We generally, when we garnish a drink for purposes, one, we want something that is fresh. We want something that is going to add color to the drink, of course, and certainly great for the presentation. These swirls are very nice, and they're easy to cut. All we have to do is we can take a stir stick or whatever and stick it right down through the middle of these. And then, of course, if we take that and then would put that in cold water, those will retain that type of
right.
bounce to it, if you will. A
Okay.
variation of that would be the horse's neck, which looks almost like a horse. And that goes way back to, we'll say, the late 1800s and early 1900s, the Roaring Twenties. And we can lay those on the sides of glasses as well. Lastly, I would say certainly fresh fruit. We make mojitos, for example.
Oh yeah.
The fresh juices, muddling the lemons and the limes that we would use, that type of mixture. And,
Okay.
of course, the sugars add to that as well.
Absolutely. So are we going to do any more, or is that?
Well, this one here I might add, too, since it is a holiday season.
Yes.
You can take that. If you're thinking France, we're thinking, obviously, good French vodka like the
That's
Grey,
your idea.
the Grey
Yeah.
Goose. Yeah.
Please,
Check his
don't-
cards always,
That's,
right?
I'm flattered, but
Yes. And
it smells great.
we could add champagne to that if we wanted to. We could make that
Oh.
same drink, and if we had a flute of some kind, if I could reach right around here,
I
right?
could have handed that to you.
We could take that flute right there and put that drink in there, and of course top that off with some good French champagne.
That's very good.
Yeah.
I like the pineapple in there.
Do you like that?
It really It's pineapple juice is one of those juices that it adds some nice acidity, but it has that little bit of sweetness, but it's not too much. It's not overpowering. But with the sweetness of the Chambord, it works really well together.
I agree
It
with
pairs
you.
nicely.
I think pineapple juice is great stuff. It really is.
And especially with the sugar on the outside. So, well, thank you very much.
Okay,
This
you want
was
to do
great.
another one
You want to
here?
do another one?
Yeah,
Let's do another one.
I
If
think
you're
we
gonna
got a
do another
couple
one,
here. We'll
let's
do
do
for
another
you.
one. What do we got next?
Well, I'll tell you, and again, here we are in France, right? Over in the cafes, we could have some coffee, of course, and maybe a liqueur, a cordial of your choice, right? That technically, we refer to that as a pousse café, right?
Okay.
Pousse café, to push coffee. When it finally reached the American shores, of course, we destroy things or really rip them up pretty good. And what that became essentially was a layered drink.
Okay.
Yeah, and to make
Oh,
layered
I've
drinks.
seen layered drinks.
Have you
I
seen
know.
those?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make.
But for the viewers who haven't, let's explain.
Yeah, okay, very good. The most important thing with regard to layered drinks is that we
Here, Dave.
understand the sugar content of the ingredients that you're going to be using. And typically, these look like rainbows.
Yes.
And you could make, in fact, there was a book out years ago called 1001 Pousse Cafés. So in other words, once you see the technique, you can go ahead and replicate it pretty easily. Now, in very, we'll say, upscale establishments, we may be inclined to use some type of a Dutch cordial type of glass of different varieties. This is extra large. One heck of a great drink, all right? But,
Sounds like a lot of fun.
yes, it is. Otherwise, we would stick to a standard liqueur, we'll say a cordial glass here, and this has a open-faced type of situation, old style, where those could be the successive liqueurs, that is floating. Those liqueurs that have more sugar would go in first, kind of like the viscosity or the weight of oil or something,
Right.
And then we can do 3 layers, 5 layers. We have one called a 21-gun salute. Okay, so
Tell me it's 21 layers.
it is, yeah, 21 layers. Do you want to do this one here, Barb? Okay.
Well, we're going to do just the basic one.
Okay, that'll be good. Here you
I think
go.
we have time for this one, and then we're going to have to close out the show.
Get the straws out for
Okay.
everybody here, right?
Well, do you want to
Okay.
do the double? Well, I can do this quick because he wanted to just show you a double
Yeah.
pour.
Whatever you think.
Quickly.
Okay.
Okay. This is in my way.
Hey, she's got
clean up a
grenadine or
little bit.
cherry brandy she could use, very highly sugared, right? And she's going to try to split these like 1/3. We're going to use 3 different
Right.
varieties. If you like one, we'll say flavor versus another, you could do that, if you were at home. So she's used her grenadine. We've got a cherry flavor. Now the white chocolate, white creme de cocoa, right?
Okay.
Tastes like the Easter candies, if you will. Okay, and then we have the blue, what we call curacao, okay, which is orange flavored. Yeah, that's a little tougher off a spoon.
Right.
Okay.
it's
And
warm.
what is the purpose of going off the spoon again? Is that just to keep it even?
That is to keep it even. These should come
Okay.
out,
Break the
more
fall.
segmented.
I got it.
Okay,
I got it. Because if
Yeah.
you just dumped it right in, it would make that initial splash, and it would kind of.
absolutely,
I
you'll
got
just
you.
Everything
displace it.
mixes
Right.
Right.
together. This is too warm.
Look at that.
Now-
It's like the American flag.
You know how you handle knives back in the kitchen. You have your own style, right?
Right.
Me, I'm kind of I like to do things not as
Why is this
difficult.
not
She
coming
likes
out
this
here?
tough stuff here, right?
I like to do it the easy way.
The easy way, exactly. So as she pours those
blue's not
successfully down the
coming out.
side of the glasses, those would layer up like that.
Okay.
Okay. Now we could do this. We wanted to. We could take ourselves some fresh glasses here. Let me borrow this from you, Barb, for a second.
What's the correct way to drink this? Just sip it?
Yeah, technically you'll sip it. Most people
Okay.
they shoot them back.
You wanna
We
get a
have
good
the
shot of it?
shooters and tutors, poppers and
Okay.
mind stoppers. But
Shooters and
see-
tutors, huh?
Yeah. What we can do is just lay this in here. You can see
Go
that.
for some shooters and tutors, Matt.
So we've got our grenadine syrup, and then what we're going to do is take our white chocolate
Okay.
then and roll that in there.
Okay.
This is an easy way to do that. See, is to bring these side by side,
Gotcha.
right? And then pour this one, which is heavier, I should say lighter, excuse me, the
Right.
white chocolate, over the grenadine, and roll that right down the side of the
at
glass
that.
here. And that should set up for us real nice. Give that a little twist coming out, as you see. So here we have now a chocolate cherry, if
Gotcha.
you will, right? And of course, then if we want to lay that orange, chocolate orange is great stuff. right?
Absolutely. Chocolate and orange match made in heaven.
Right, so we're going to throw a little bit of blue.
You're like Tom Cruise. What was the movie? Cocktails? Is that what it was called?
Ironically, we had a little girl there that took our class down in Manhattan.
Uh-huh.
She goes, I saw him down at the Palladium. And he said to me, he says, I'll tell you, you know how he is. He just laughs.
Oh, yeah.
He says, you could fill this room with the broken glass. He says, take 331 or whatever, that's the one that went in the movie. You say, so there you go. So this would lay out there for you,
Very cool.
real nice, okay?
Well,
all right.
Excellent. Thank you for being on the show today. Happy New Year.
Happy
And
New
is
Year.
there anything you want to throw out there or plug your website or anything before we go to break?
Well, I would say,
before we move on
I
to-
would say that anybody who is looking to make good money for a shift of work, and certainly the college kids. I mean, we're talking millions. We get a lot of them in our classes. People going to all kinds of schools. This is a great way to make money. And people who want to moonlight or retired, you can't beat it. In fact, we're going to retire here in just a couple more years, and we have the cruise lines waiting for us. We're going to do the Caribbean, then go to the Med, and then sail in the Orient.
Sounds like a great
and
time.
never come back. You know.
Well, congratulations here. I'll drink to that as we close out. If you want to do a shooter with me.
Okay.
And we're going to go out with Harold, who's going to play us out. So if you want to put your hands together, I'm going to take my drink.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Good health.
You too.